Hey everybody, where's Victoria's real estate market headed in 2025? Let's get into it today, and please take a moment to hit subscribe if you haven't already so you can keep track if I was right or wrong. So every time I upload one of these prediction videos, I swear it's going to be my last one because there's so many wild cards and there's so many things that are completely outside our control that affect Victoria home prices. Just the amount of new government rules introduced this year in BC has been absolutely insane. I'll still take a few shots at what I think 2025 will bring because not only is it fun to chat about and it's a fun conversation to have, but there's a few fundamental trends I've noticed in Victoria's real estate market that I think are really useful for buyers and sellers to be aware of. I love hearing from everyone, so please leave your own predictions in the comments below. 1 year ago, I said detached home prices would be up 5 to 10% and condos would be down 5%. I was wrong. The year was pretty much flat overall for both segments, and condos actually survived much better than I thought they would, posting a small gain in median price. The biggest surprise was the number of sales, particularly in that last quarter of 2024. We saw a lot of activity. We saw people no longer being afraid of entering the market, switching homes, upsizing, downsizing, and the market is moving quite nicely now. So if that momentum continues and interest rates continue to drop, we could be off to a strong start for 2025. To highlight that point, this is absolutely crazy. Right now, there are less than 14 homes for sale under $1 million in Victoria's core, and only 3 of those homes have suites. I can tell you right now, there's way more than 3 buyers looking for these kind of homes, probably more like 300 active buyers. I think the detached market will climb this year, but whatever happens, it's a pretty safe bet that homes under $1 million are going to become more and more rare. If you look at a 5-year graph of them, regardless of what home prices have done, regardless of interest rates, there's fewer and fewer of these properties each year. This is the most competitive segment in Victoria, and a lot of time you're paying for the land value only, and the house, whatever condition it's in, is really just a bonus. With all the new upzoning and density coming to Victoria, these properties, if they can be rented out and held for a few years before they're developed, are even more desirable. It used to be the case that homes on busy streets took forever to sell, such as Bay Street or Mackenzie, and now it doesn't even matter if the street is busy, they get snapped up. With the exception of custom owner-built homes, developers aren't really building many detached homes, so existing detached properties will only become more rare. I think we could see detached home prices up maybe 10% by the end of 2025, and multiple offers, lots of competition for these homes throughout the year, as long as they're well priced and in desirable neighborhoods. Looking at the condo market, I think we've hit the bottom and we'll see a gradual recovery from this point on, perhaps gains of maybe 1 to 3%. A lot of pre-sale builds completed and came online in 2024, but there's no new condo buildings downtown Victoria in the pipeline. Developers, for the most part, have switched over to rental builds only. So over the next few years, I think these newer units will start regaining their value from those peak 2021, 2022 price points. The condo market is really interesting because unlike detached homes where land appreciates generally over time, condo buildings can depreciate faster once they hit a certain age. And in my opinion, that age is about 30 to 35 years when major systems need replacing. I've heard of a few cases recently of buildings from the 1990s facing massive special assessments in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think these will become more and more common. Be very wary of older buildings that need work and really dig into those strata documents. A small change that will have a huge impact is WorkSafe BC now requires a valid license to remove asbestos. The cost of dealing with asbestos and other hazardous materials in older homes and buildings is skyrocketing, and this cost just gets passed right onto strata corporations, right onto owners, in addition to already expensive renovation costs. Another fun one that no one likes to think about, but we can still always count on, is rising insurance costs. Insurance is usually the single biggest expense in a strata's budget, and proactive stratas that check hot water tank ages, they use leak detectors, they stay on top of maintenance. These will be the ones that perhaps stay on budget, but any building that has deferred maintenance and a long history of like water damage and leaks, they could be in trouble and be facing high deductibles and premiums. Another reason to be optimistic on the market in general is Canadian home buyers have over 10% more buying power now than at the start of 2024, thanks to falling interest rates. And it's not just the lower rates that are making people jump into the market, it's the fact that rates are becoming more stable and predictable, which makes it easier to make moves with confidence. The central bank defines a neutral rate as between 2.25 and 3.25, and we're currently right at the threshold right now at 3.25. And a lot of economists forecast that the Bank of Canada wants to get us to a neutral rate and will drop further, perhaps another full point in 2025. One thing I'm excited about is I think we'll see a shift to some new types of housing this year. This will certainly include some controversial projects like this one in James Bay. Leo at House Hunt did a great article on freehold townhomes, such as row homes in Royal Bay. They're really cool and they're similar to duplexes in that they have no strata fees, no strata management, and a lot of the benefits and the cost efficiencies to build them, but none of the drawbacks of a strata. Another one to watch is developers looking at building 4, 5, or 6 unit multifamily homes. These are quite common in Fairfield as character conversions, but the province's new rules now make modern versions of these in areas like Saanich or in the West Shore quite feasible as well. There's lots of creative solutions now that can fill a gap between a tiny condo or a massive 5-bedroom house with a suite. Lots of missing middle opportunities, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. Victoria will continue to be desirable. This isn't going to change. The amount of people wanting to move here is limitless. And whatever happens in the rest of Canada, I think Victoria will always fare better. We have much lower unemployment rates than the rest of Canada, like say Toronto. We have a large population of government employees with stable income. We have tech companies, we have students, we have retirees. It's very well balanced and diverse. And on a broader scale, there's lots of talk about Canada changing immigration policies, which could lead to perhaps rental drops in these other Eastern Canadian markets, but I don't think that's going to happen much in Victoria. As soon as rents start to drop, it just makes it more attractive for people to move here. Victoria is so unique in both our geography and our economy that I don't think rents will come down much, and I think we'll be very resilient. On the downside, continued growth means life won't get much easier for island residents. Our services will continue to be pushed to the max. One single Costco sustained the entire South Island. It's way too busy there. Or if Crystal Pool gets shut down, that's more strain on already crowded pools in the rest of the CRD. And I don't even want to get started on bike lanes and losing lanes of vehicle traffic on major arteries. Everything's just getting busier and busier in Victoria. And it's a double-edged sword. As housing prices go up and the economy does well, we are going to have to get tighter and tighter and more congested here. And finally, what I think all this new regulation from both the province and the federal level means is the government does not want housing to fail. Banks don't want your property. We won't see a major crash or major foreclosures, even if things got really bad. We'd see easing up on lending rules, longer amortizations, and bailouts if it ever got to that point, which I don't think it will. Over 25% of BC's economy and jobs are directly related to housing, so the government is not going to let that falter, at least not on purpose. Long-term housing in Victoria, either a condo, townhome, or detached home, is a good investment if it's your home. On the other hand, if you're speculating and trying to flip or time the market, I think there's better, safer places to put your money these days. I said the government regulation is a sign that they want housing to do well, but at the same time, most of those regulations are really weighted towards people owning homes for themselves, and they've created an environment now that's kind of scary for investors. All the rule changes related to Airbnbs, tenancy laws, and capital gains taxes. But if it's your shelter, your home, I don't think you can go wrong right now in Victoria real estate. In particular, if you have a long-term outlook, you'll do very well. I want to hear your thoughts and predictions on what 2025 will bring. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for supporting my channel, and I'll see you next time.